Hello, it's Maria from the River Forest Public Library back again with another craft tutorial. This week we're going to be making these salt dough medals. Even though the Olympics were canceled this year, it doesn't mean that you can't make your own games. I've been seeing a lot of kids in my neighborhood doing relay races, and I thought this could be a great addition to the festivities. This project is incredibly easy, so let's go ahead and get started. For this project you will need a mixing bowl, a spatula, a rolling pin, a half cup of water, a half cup of salt, 1 cup of flour, a baking sheet, some utensils to make your design, a pair of scissors, and some ribbon. The first step of this project is to make your salt dough. I got this recipe from allrecipes.com, but there are many variations of salt dough online. For this particular recipe, I'm using 1 cup of flour, a half cup of salt, and a half cup of water. This should make about 6 pretty large medals. So just go ahead and dump in your 1 cup of flour, your salt, and then the key to success is actually to slowly drizzle in your half cup of water as you mix it. If you dump it in all at once, it's not going to come together properly. I'm just going to go ahead and do a tablespoon or so at a time, mix it until it's all incorporated, and then add another tablespoon or so, and so on and so forth. Alright, so all the water has been incorporated, and this is what you should be left with. It should come together in one big mass and should be relatively sticky. So at this point in time, it's time to knead the dough. The recipe that I'm using says to knead the dough for about 10 minutes. I don't think there's a reason to be super precise about it. Just make sure that you give it a good working. If you have any helping hands in the house, definitely feel free to enlist them and help knead the dough. So I've gone ahead and kneaded the dough. At this point, the dough should be a little bit more supple and a little less tacky. Now at this point, the recipe says to let the dough sit for 20 minutes. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up while that sits, and I'll be right back. We've let our dough rest for about 20 minutes, and at this point the dough is significantly less tacky and a little bit more firm to the touch. All we have to do at this point is roll out our dough, cut them out, and decorate however we would like. I have a sheet tray in front of me, and I've sprinkled a little bit of flour on the surface just so it doesn't stick when I roll it out. But just go ahead and start flattening out your dough, and then just go ahead and start using your rolling pin. Now it's important to make sure that the dough isn't too thin when you roll it out. We don't want it to be brittle and break easily, but we also don't want it to be super thick. So somewhere in between. Definitely use your own discretion. Hi, Oscar! So just go ahead and roll it out. Alright, so I've gone ahead and rolled it out to a thickness that I like. Then just take a circular object. I've gone ahead and used a water glass and start punching out your medals. So my medals have been punched out. I was able to make 6 pretty large medals using that amount of dough. After I cut them out, I just went ahead and took off all the scraps, and this is what we're left with. Now for the fun part, the decorations. So for this part, you can use any tool that you would like. I'm gonna go ahead and use this little cap that I have for the Olympic rings, and then I also have this little spreader that I can use to mark up the dough. So go ahead and make any design that you would like. It could be the Olympic rings, 1st place, 2nd place, 3rd place. I know Father's Day is coming up, so you can make your dad a medal with #1 dad. The possibilities are endless. Just go ahead and create. This salt dough recipe calls for baking. I'm gonna go ahead and bake it for about 2 hours in an oven that's 250 degrees Fahrenheit. The point of baking the salt dough is to draw out all the moisture so that you're left with a clay-like medal at the end of it. If you don't want to bake the medals, I'm sure you can air dry them and leave them out overnight until they're dry to the touch. I'm gonna go ahead and bake mine. Now that your salt dough is baked, they're completely dry and hard to the touch, and you're ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and leave my salt dough medals natural. I kind of like the way that they look, but if you have paint that you want to use, definitely feel free to paint these up and make them a little bit jazzier. Since I'm using these as relay race medals, I'm just going to string them up with this patriotic ribbon. So just go ahead and measure it around your neck so that you can easily take it on and off. Cut it free, put the 2 ends together, and then I like to roll them a little bit tight so that they're easier to loop through, and then just go ahead and thread them through. I'm not going to get super fancy. All I'm going to do is tie a knot at the back, And there we are. We have our final product, a custom-made salt dough medal for your very own summer games. I hope you give this one a try, and if you do, let us know how it goes. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys later. Bye!